spoke yesterday at length about Team Rubicon, but I only touched briefly on one of the points that I'm going to discuss in more detail here today, and it's around why Team Rubicon is good for shifting the narrative around veterans. To explain this, I'm going to talk a little bit about Canada. So when I got back from Afghanistan, I walked into an ecosystem of media, of conversations within Canada about the veteran being either one of two things. They were either a hero and they were thanked wherever they went. You'd get a coffee when you go to a coffee shop if you wore a uniform because we're at the height of the Afghan war. Or you were a victim. And at that point, people were clearly seeing the trend of post-traumatic stress and the impact on families and the impact on the veteran and their communities through service. So I walked into this environment going back to school and trying to find my own self after serving in Afghanistan. And it was hard because I didn't think I fit into either the hero or the victim. And I thought of myself as just David, the average Canadian citizen who chose to serve his country and came back and wanting to do something more. So I started working in the veteran space and got very involved and engaged with veteran employment programs and networks. And I started realizing at one point in conversation with fellow veterans who had good jobs in our big cities with the big banks, and by all marks of criteria, they were successful. I thought they were happy. I had a job and I thought I was happy. But then we started talking about how we wanted to do something more with ourselves, and we were missing something. You know, typing at a big bank is not the same as serving your community, whether that is abroad or at home. And moreover, we always started feeling a little used in a way, because we'd be thanked and we'd stand up at dinners or galas and people would applaud us, but the second the light turned off, we were forgotten about, and that's okay too. But it left you with a lot of internal struggle, and it left a lot of us with a lot of internal struggle, and the narrative became really toxic. So we had a toxic narrative within Canada around the veteran, and where you're either a hero or you're a victim, and there was no third way to really define yourself. So that is what attracted me when I learned about Team Rubicon. It was still an American-based organization, and they were doing exceptional work in the USA, Team Rubicon. And I was attracted to the idea because what Team Rubicon provides through its disaster relief programs, through its engagement programs with veterans at home or abroad, it provides a counter-narrative to what the veteran might be perceived as in that country. In Canada, it was a simple thing about, what if instead of, as you were showing the news articles, instead of seeing, veteran, this is a sense of veteran kills, wife kills himself, or instead of seeing, homeless veterans increasing by 25% every year, or seeing other statistics of pain and suffering within the community, or you see veterans are heroes, thank you for your service. What about just seeing veterans as civic assets, as we've discussed, as being members of a community where they're able to contribute productively, going beyond just getting a good job and recognizing that there's an opportunity to redefine yourself, and through service to your community, perhaps opening up other channels of self-discovery, being exposed to other programs within your country where you can get the support and get the assistance you might require. So taking a step back, it all comes down to, when I became involved with Team Rubicon, a very clear desire and intent to shift the narrative around the veteran within Canada by practically getting involved with an organization, Team Rubicon, helping to co-found it in Canada. And within 6 months, this is going back to 2016, there was a big wildfire in one of our provinces, and it destroyed half of the city, displaced 100,000 people. And this was our opportunity to come together as Canadian veterans, as Team Rubicon, and we partnered with Team Rubicon USA because we were still so young, we couldn't conduct an operation ourselves, so partnership is really the best way to go. And we responded, and we supported the community, and we didn't think we would do domestic disaster response in Canada, to be honest, but a wildfire corrected us. And what you saw on the news were Team Rubicon volunteers, Canadian veterans and American veterans, redefining themselves through service. And I believe in repetitive media impressions that just start shifting there. It's not a quick thing. And Team Rubicon, for me, just speaking very frankly, as a Canadian veteran who saw the toxic narrative around victimization, around the hero, around being mad, bad, or sad, or what have you, I really just wanted to shift the light and shift the focus without taking away from those who have become victims of their service, but to help them also, more importantly, redefine themselves and provide them with that reinvigorated identity, that sense of community and that sense of purpose, as Andrew mentioned earlier today, that is so lacking when you leave the military. The other critical thing that happened at this time when I was getting involved with Team Rubicon in Canada was the Afghan war ended. So we suddenly went from being in the limelight and everyone thanking us to being completely disregarded. And Canada is not we're not often engaged in conflicts. So the second we went away from the news and we stopped seeing soldiers' faces on the news coming home from Afghanistan in coffins, everyone frankly just moved on. And that's okay. But the narrative that persisted, that continued, was still that victimization or hero. So to bring it all together, and I have two minutes left, so I'm going to try to finish more than on time, unlike yesterday, is to really provide that third channel to shift the narrative through practical, positive exposure of veterans as civic assets. And whether they're working at home, like I mentioned yesterday, Canadian veterans are clearing trees in a park that was disastered by an ice storm a couple weeks ago. People see that and they go, oh, I didn't know veterans gave back to their community. We all know veterans give back to their community. That's what we've done through our national service for our country at home or abroad. But this is, for Team Rubicon and so many other programs, we try to shift that narrative by providing a real, like a tangible, something you can go, wow, that is it. Like that, I didn't know David, it doesn't matter he was a veteran, but David's doing good in the community. And I have so many friends that have, I'm very grateful for, they've joined Team Rubicon and they've found a new channel to redefine themselves within their community, and in doing so, become engaged in a very collaborative way with other organizations. And this is the benefit of collaboration and partnership here, where we can come together within the non-governmental organization space to help shift the narrative around veterans. And depending on how toxic the narrative is in your country or not, or if there's an active war or not, and I'm speaking globally and generally here, I think the opportunity is ours to redefine who we are, and doing so through programs like Team Rubicon. That's the last time I'll mention Team Rubicon, although I'll say it 2 more times, is extremely important. So thank you, and I look forward to questions.